Hi, I'm Steve Coniglio with eXp Realty. Have you received phone calls, text messages, mail, or offers from people claiming to be cash buyers who want to buy your secondary or primary residence here in the Austin area? The fact is that these people are not likely cash buyers, but practice something called wholesaling. And wholesalers never intend to buy your property or hold title to it. So I decided to make this video to inform as many people as possible about the wholesale industry, which you may have not heard about. In fact, most real estate agents don't even know about the wholesale industry. But I do, and I'll explain at the end of this video how I know. Even if you'd never accept an offer from one of these people, you still might find this information fascinating, and hopefully you'll have an aha moment. I don't know. So, what is wholesaling? And if wholesalers don't intend to buy your property, why would they make a cash offer for it? Well, let's start with the property owners they're looking for, and then I'll explain how they make their money. Wholesalers begin by targeting property owners who may be distressed or who have a compelling emotional reason to sell their property at a discount below fair market value. A distressed property owner may be someone going through divorce, people who are tax delinquent, people who are behind on mortgage payments, people who inherited a property, people facing foreclosure, etc. Most of the reasons I just listed are public record. But what's also public record are absentee owners, which you may fall into this category. An absentee owner is someone who owns a secondary property they don't live in. Anyone can go onto Travis County or Williamson County's Central Appraisal District website and look up your property address. And under owner information, if your mailing address is different from the property address, the wholesaler knows that you don't live there. And if you don't live there, you might be renting the property, which means you might be a landlord. And landlords tend to become distressed dealing with tenant issues and vacancy issues, and therefore may have a compelling emotional reason to sell your property quickly below market value and end your tenant nightmares. That's how you get put on their mailing list. Have you ever received a postcard that looks similar to this? They use a website to mail these out in bulk, but let's break it down. This one is bright yellow to grab your attention right away. They make it appear personalized by addressing it to the homeowner, in this case, John, which remember is public record. The website will then find a photo of the house on Google Street View using the property address, and then they post it on the postcard. Now, some people might be aware that this is a Google image, but the wholesaler is hoping that John doesn't know that, and that he believes that the person who sent the postcard drove past his house and took the photo themselves because they are specifically interested in his property. What's funny is that many of these wholesalers don't even live in Texas or near the Austin area. You can see on the right side of the postcard, they're offering all the typical goodies: no fees, no commissions, no escrow fees, no tenant hassles, and sell as is. You know that they're targeting John as an absentee owner because it says no tenant hassles. It's possible that John's a landlord and might be renting the house. At the bottom, they create a false sense of urgency by claiming they only have enough cash to buy one more property in the next 30 days, and that's followed by the property address. So John thinks that they want to spend the remainder of their money on his house specifically. It's totally cow manure. I love it. And finally, in the last sentence is their call to action. Please call me as soon as possible. But here's my favorite example of how wholesalers target distressed property owners, and one that I'm sure you've seen. This is what's called a bandit sign. You've seen them on the side of the road at intersections and have probably thought to yourself, that looks really sketchy. Who would ever sell their house that way? Well, people do. And you've probably wondered who the people are behind the signs, and they're almost certainly wholesalers and not actual cash buyers. They're the same people who are trying to buy your property. I picked this image because it doesn't have a phone number on it, but the sign says, "I will buy your house fast, easy, cash, and in any condition." The operative words here are any condition. What they're really doing is targeting people who may own homes that are in such poor condition that the homeowner believes no one will want to buy their property and no realtor would be able to sell it as it is. The poor condition of their property and their financial inability to repair it makes them distressed and is their compelling emotional reason to sell at a deep discount. But this is where it gets really interesting. This is how wholesalers make their money on your property without spending a dime. Let's say your house is worth $500,000 if you made about $50,000 worth of repairs to it. A wholesaler would start by offering you roughly 70% of the $500,000 minus the $50,000 in needed repairs. So they would make an offer of about $300,000, and then they would make it sound good by offering to pay all closing costs, no realtor commissions. They'll buy it as is so you don't have to make any repairs, and they'll close quickly. But right after you sign their contract selling your house for $300,000, the wholesaler will then turn around and sell the contract before close of escrow to an actual cash buyer who's a flipper or investor for about $350,000. So now the wholesaler just made a quick $50,000 for simply writing a contract, and the actual cash buyer just bought your house for $100,000 below fair market value, and you may have no idea that the wholesaler sold their interest in the contract to someone else or how much money they made doing it. Sounds lucrative, right? Well, it's totally legal. These people are in business to make money, and the only way they could do that is if you give away your equity and sell them your property below market value so they have room to make a large profit. Their profit is your loss. In this example, you could have just listed your house with a realtor as is without making any repairs for $450,000, and you would have netted around $420,000 after paying closing costs and commissions. That's a whole lot better than $300,000. How many times do you think a wholesaler can get a property under contract in a day, week, month, or year just by contacting people who may be distressed? Wholesaling is an unregulated industry, and wholesalers are not required to get a real estate license to practice. In fact, having a real estate license means that the wholesaler would have to abide by a canon of ethics, which would require the wholesaler to be fair and honest to the property owner about what they're doing and how much your property is truly worth. If you don't know what your property is truly worth, you may not know you're selling it at a discount. I want to be clear that there are some honest and hardworking wholesalers out there who might be upfront with you and tell you they're not actually going to be the one who buys your property, but they still won't tell you how much money they sold the contract for or how much money they're going to make. You will make much more money listing with a realtor even after paying closing costs and commissions. I see advertisements from wholesalers selling their interest in contracts for properties here in the Austin area nearly every day. And by the way, there are two types of wholesalers out there. There are the very experienced ones who know real estate and property values very well, and are expert negotiators. And then there are the amateurs who just got out of a 2-day workshop on how to get rich in real estate using other people's money. The latter of the two might just completely waste your time and not your equity. So, how am I familiar with wholesaling? As I mentioned earlier, my name is Steve Coniglio. I'm a realtor with eXp Realty, and in the first 4 to 4.5 years of my real estate career, I worked for a national company that purchased houses in the Austin and surrounding areas for cash to rehab and resell. It was house flipping, just like on HGTV. My job was to buy houses for the company, and after they were rehabbed, I would list and sell them. On occasion, we would purchase houses at a discount from wholesalers. So that's how I became familiar with the wholesaling and cash buying industry. There are only a few good reasons I could think to sell your property at a discount, and those would be if you're about to lose your property to foreclosure, or it's about to be auctioned by the county because you're behind on taxes, or maybe there's a hoarder situation and you just don't want to deal with the mess. Even then, I would skip the wholesaler and go direct with a cash buyer. But it might be difficult to know the difference if the wholesaler doesn't tell you. The best way to protect your equity is to know the current value of your property, which, by the way, is not the tax assessed value or what one of those real estate websites like Zillow estimate. If you would like a comparative market analysis and my price opinion on your property, I offer it for free with no obligation. All you have to do is reach out. My contact information is to follow. All right, that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope it was informative, even if you're not distressed or would never consider selling to a wholesaler. That's it. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.